Thanks for, taking the time to chat with us. Excited to talk about, how things went. But before we get started on that, why don't you tell us just a little bit about yourself, uh, where you're originally from and maybe a little bit of family history or something.
Okay. Yeah. So my name is Paige Crozon, born and raised in Humboldt, Saskatchewan. I attended HCI and played basketball there. After high school, I went and played basketball at the University of Utah and 1 year professionally in Germany. I'm now playing with the Team Canada 3x3 team, and we just returned home from the World Cup in Antwerp, Belgium.
Awesome. So, tell us a little bit about what it was like growing in Humboldt. You're not that old, so your graduating year, I mean, was a while ago, but not super long ago. What was it like growing up in Humboldt, going to school here, playing basketball here?
Yeah, so I had a really great experience growing up in Humboldt. I played on most of the sports teams at the high school, and we were very fortunate to have success. But really, just like the support that I've had from the community over the course of my basketball career, starting in high school. So have had really positive experiences in Humboldt. I still come back to play at the high school. So very proud to be a part of the community and to be from Humboldt.
That's awesome. Did you always like basketball? Was it something you were always interested in?
Yeah, I always just liked playing sports, and I always loved just competing and playing whatever sport I had access to at the time. But when I was in high school, I definitely found a passion for sport, and was able to play with the provincial team, Team Saskatchewan, and play on various national teams throughout my career. So I think I found like a natural liking towards basketball, and I like that I could just go to an outdoor court and play and shoot hoops for hours on end and didn't need too much equipment or didn't even need someone to play with at all times. But I just like that it was easy to access and just fell in love with it from there.
Yeah. It's funny because I'm not tall and I have your stats. You're 6'1". I'm 5'5". I loved basketball, but I always found that, I was either too short or too slow for the sport. But it was something I loved growing up. I loved playing basketball. I used to spend lots of time in my own backyard, shooting hoops or whatever. But my school was very small. I didn't have the opportunity to play on many teams. We didn't have a senior team or anything like that. So you're talking about the fact that you had that opportunity in school, and I think that's something that a lot of people, I don't want to say they take for granted, but it's not always an opportunity that presents itself. So I mean, having those coaches and stuff in high school, was there anybody that really stood out in your mind, or any of those experiences that really were fond memories for you?
Yeah, so I think you touch on something really important. Having access to sport is so important for all youth. And you mentioned that you're short, but I always say that every team needs a point guard. So I
That's true.
encourage all youth, no matter their size, to participate. And what's most important is to have athletes and youth playing. I think it doesn't matter the level in which they're playing. We all play sports because it's fun and enjoyable, and it's good for us for our mental and physical health. So I always encourage athletes to play sports no matter their size. And hopefully we continue just to providing more opportunities to youth so they have access to the sport. I'm sorry that you didn't have that growing up, but hopefully we can continue to work on that. But growing up in Humboldt, I had so many people that kind of fostered the passion for basketball within me. Carrie Archibald and the late Kevin Grayman were two of my coaches in high school, and they showed up every single day for practice because they wanted us to get better and wanted us to have access to sport, and also just because they loved it. And I think because they shared that passion with me, it kind of helped foster the love that I had for the sport. So I give a lot of credit to all the coaches that I had in my early years playing the sport that just really encouraged me to have fun and made basketball fun and enjoyable. And from there, I just want to work and get better at it because it's something that I also enjoyed and that I came to love because of their passion for it.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. So let's talk a bit about that. What do you think your biggest career achievement has been, in basketball or outside of basketball even? What do you think your biggest career achievement has been?
That's a really good question. I think coming off of the World Cup, a silver medal at a world championship is really hard to beat. So I would have to say that's probably my biggest career achievement thus far. And this past week, my daughter Poppy and my family was able to come along and cheer and support. So being able to win that silver medal in front of Poppy was definitely very special and a moment I think I'll always remember.
For sure, and I'm sure she will too. How old is she?
She's 3.5 right now, and the whole tournament we'd come off after the court and she'd give us all high fives and she's like, you need to run faster, shoot better, and pass better. So we always joke that she was our coach throughout the tournament, so I think that she had a really good time as well.
That's awesome. That was my next question. What is your biggest personal achievement?
Yeah, I think there's a few. Obviously, my daughter is something that I'm most proud of, and so proud of her, and feel so grateful that I get to kind of share my passion for basketball with her. But beyond, I guess my family and outside of basketball would be probably my role with the Living Skies Indigenous Basketball League. Uh, it's a league that's free to all youth. And we want to remove the barriers of sport, including racism, and it's free of costs, so then all youth can participate, and then financial barriers don't have to be a factor as to why youth aren't playing. So being a part of that league and being able to provide sport to more youth has been something that I've been very passionate about and very fortunate that I get to be a part of that league.
That is wonderful. That's a great opportunity for sure. Is that something that how did you get involved in that?
So my mentor and boss, Mike Tanton, asked me to be a part of the Living Skies Indigenous Basketball League, and I'm so glad that he did. And he saw potential in me and wanted me to bring my experiences to the youth in Saskatchewan. And we run camps and help coaches all throughout the province. So I'm very excited to continue to pursue that passion as well.
That's awesome. Well, you touched on it a little bit. Obviously, you just came home from the World Cup, so it's not the first time you've been in a 3x3, but is this the first World Cup you've been involved in?
Yeah, so I started playing. Well, I had my first 3-on-3 event in 2011 for the Youth World Championships. And then in 2019, our team kind of got together for the Women's Series, and we were trying to make a push to qualify for the 2020 Tokyo Olympics. And because of the way the sport is structured, we didn't get a chance to go to the Olympic qualifier because only one team per country got to go. And our men's team was ranked higher in the world, so they went to the Olympic qualifier. Um, so I've been with this team, myself, Michelle and Catherine Plouffe, and now Casey Bosch for the last 3 years. And we didn't know what our future was going to look like after the 2020 Olympics. So we're very excited to play in the World Cup, and this has been the biggest event for our team. Um, so this will be my first senior World Cup, and it was a really good just event overall.
Yeah, and I was following some of the games, and of course with the time zone difference and everything, it was some of the games I was like, "What time is that at?" But the website did a great job, I will say that,
Oh,
of
good.
posting results and stuff. So that was awesome. You guys came away with second place, is that right?
Yes. So yeah, as you mentioned, the time zones made it tricky. So our games were sometimes at 2 a.m. SAS time. But yeah, they have it on YouTube. So it was always, I've heard it was easy to go back and find the game. So I'm glad that you were able to support. So thank you for that. But yeah,
Yeah.
we played, well, we were first in a pool with Israel, Chile, Spain, and the Netherlands. And Spain has been one of the top teams in the world. They won the European Championship, and we actually lost to them in pool play in overtime. So that was kind of a really tough competition from the start of the tournament. We then had to play Germany, who is the number one ranked team in the world, to get to play into the playoffs. We faced the USA in the quarterfinals, a really tough team as always, and were able to beat them. We then played Lithuania in the semis and matched up against France in the finals. We played that team in a tournament before the World Tournament and beat them twice, but that's just the way it goes. So we lost in the final game to France. I think the score was 16-13. But we are so happy to, represent Canada and have fun in the process and ultimately walk away with a silver medal.
Yeah, it definitely is a wonderful achievement, obviously, for you and to represent women of Canada. I think that's an amazing opportunity, and to think of somebody just from, and I say small town Humboldt, it's not anymore, but to say somebody from the city of Humboldt being able to represent Team Canada at such a, a national level. And I think that's an amazing achievement. Did you ever think that this was something you were going to do?
Um, I don't think I always dreamed of, like playing on the Olympics and playing on the national team. But I always just played sports because it's something that I loved to do. I loved going and playing with my friends and competing and being able to beat the boys in basketball in high school. So I always played sport because I loved it, and I've continued to play because of that for no other reason otherwise that I enjoy it, and my daughter and I like to play basketball together. So to be able to do what you love on the international stage representing your country is something that I'm very proud of, and just so proud to be able to, bring a medal back for Canada. And hopefully this helps kind of, so 3-on-3 is a new sport, so hopefully we continue to, pave the way for Canadian women and just provide more opportunities for women to participate in sport.
Yeah. And you mentioned, 3-on-3 is a new sport in the sense. What is different about 3-on-3 compared to, regular game of basketball?
So the 5-on-5 game, you use a full court, two baskets. 3-on-3 is a little bit different. There's only self-explanatory, but there's only 3 players from each team on the court at once. Our whole roster was made up of 4 players total, and it's just half the court. So we all use one hoop, and we just have to clear the 3-point line after a change of possession. So after we score a basket, the other team would just have to clear the 3, and then there's a 12-second shot clock. So the game moves really fast. It's incredibly physical. The games are only 10 minutes in length, so I think it's actually easier from a viewer's perspective because a 10-minute game and there's lots of action. And then the scoring is a little bit different. So it's the first team to reach 21 points ends the game, or whoever has the highest score after 10 minutes.
That's awesome. Um, is there, I guess anything coming up that's going to be new and exciting for you? I know you were doing some coaching. Are those things that you're still doing?
Yeah, so for coaching, I'm still coaching with the University of Lethbridge women's basketball team. So we are in our off-season training right now, and we'll be gearing up for our season starting in October. As I mentioned with the Living Skies Indigenous Basketball League, we'll have our provincial championships for the senior division this weekend, actually, in Saskatoon. And then for 3-on-3, we'll have the first ever national championships July 8th and 9th. And then we'll play on the professional 3-on-3 circuit this summer, including 2 stops in Canada, one in Edmonton at the end of July, and another one in Montreal, September 2nd and 3rd.
Awesome. So you definitely, definitely busy. It seems like there's lots of people in the area that are either really good at hockey, really good at basketball, or then, you have Brianne who, is in the Olympics. So it's like there's people around that are just super skilled with sport. And I really honestly, I have to say, I think it's a lot to do with the opportunity. And the people that coach love what they do.
Yeah.
And I mean, I've noticed that with any of the coaches that I talk to, they just love being able to share that knowledge and share that time with, the students. And I think that's really awesome. And you, like you said, you kind of get to do that now too when you're going to Lethbridge to coach. And I think that's just an amazing opportunity, and you're definitely making strides for, women athletes, especially from small rural communities. Um, is there anything, coming up other than what you've already mentioned that you want to touch on, or anything else that you would like to add?
I'd just like to thank everyone who sent messages and encouraging words throughout the week during the World Cup.
That's awesome. And you're wearing your medal right now. Do you want to show us all the fanciness?
I'll hold it up. Does say second place on the back. Yeah,
That's
really
cool.
excited to bring home the hardware.
That's awesome. All right. Well, I don't have anything else that I wanted to ask you. So, good luck in all of your future endeavors. And, we'll be in touch, I'm sure, with all of the upcoming events.
Yeah, thank you so much for your time, and good luck with everything you have upcoming as well.